certainly love that. Building culture as a very good transition. We are building culture right here inside of the right here inside the chat. So I'm going to hand this over to Joey and for time management and culture. So take it away, Joey.
Hi, I'm Jose Antonio Montes the third, but most folks in the marching arts know me as Joey. Definitely call me Joey when you see me. I'm a visual designer and educator who spent a lot of time in band rooms, on practice fields, and gyms, in sketchy warehouses, occasionally under a prop that definitely shouldn't have been rolling towards me that fast. Today, we're going to talk about something bigger than dots on a page and counts in a phrase. We're going to talk about why time management matters and how to intentionally build a culture that your students want to be a part of, and one that pushes your program forward long after any single season or staff member. So let's get busy talking about some time management. The first thing that I like to talk about is the non-negotiables. When it's time to set the calendar, you've got to check the school calendar, the testing weeks, the concerts, the football games. When's the honor band stuff happening? Because if you're already starting a season and there's conflicts, you're already losing your audience, which is your students. Check into staff availability and facility access. That's like the big thing for independent groups. Like if you don't have a place to rehearse, you're not rehearsing. So, and it's the same thing for staff. If you don't have a staff, who's helping the kids get better? It's important to know known travel dates and circuit deadlines so that you can make sure you got money in to pay the fees, pay the dues and all that jazz, so you're all set and ready to go. The next thing I'd say is define weekly structure early. And we'll talk about this in culture building a little bit more. But you want to set something consistent in terms of rehearsal days and times. You want to protect teaching blocks for equipment, dance, and cleaning. You don't want that all starting to merge together. You'd like to kind of set it up so that there's time to focus on these things. Balance skill building with choreography. And that kind of goes into this next point, which is plan in manageable phases. So right now, we're probably in the technique and foundations and starting to get into choreography and integration. As we start getting further into the season and we got all the choreo, we've got the drill, we've got the da-da-das, now you can start cleaning and working on those performance layers. It's important knowing that this is a winter sport that we're kind of getting into right now to build some buffer times for weather and other delays. Here in North Carolina, if there's a half an inch of ice, we're done. If it's a sprinkle, we're out. And so last year we lost about a week, 2 weeks of time. And if you didn't have that buffer time, you were kind of on the backside of a season that you didn't want to be. The next thing I'd say is to create a schedule that people can follow. Avoid overloading everything in the beginning of the season. And try to spread that out. Ensure recovery time for students. You can't rehearse every single day if there's not recovery days. So give your students time to recover. Give your students time to stay focused on what's important. And remember that they're students, so there's school that they have to work on. So being understanding of their schedule outside of what we're doing will help them stay focused in what you're doing. Communicate expectations early and with parents and administrators, and then keep the schedule consistent. Careful not to switch up things too much. I know a lot of instructors sometimes say, well, we need an extra rehearsal this week. We're doing Friday. And then, kids can't get out of work or staff isn't available. What's the point of the rehearsal? Finally, create some checkpoints to keep you on track. Weekly goals with clear outcomes, monthly pacing adjustments. So if something didn't get done in week 2 that needed to happen, we now got to push it into week 3. Maybe that means week 3 goes to week 4, week 4 goes to week 1 of the next month. But it's still within the pace of what you're trying to do. And then understanding the deadlines for costumes, flags, props, and music. How long is it going to take for your costumes to be built? How fast are you going to get your flags? It's usually pretty fast, but how long is it going to take for those parents to build those props? And when are you going to get that music from your percussion guy? Knowing all of those things is really important so that you can start going, if I don't have a soundtrack, how am I creating an aesthetic that's matching that? And if I don't have a soundtrack, how am I writing choreography? This is what I've got with time management. I'd like to move forward into some culture stuff. Excuse me. For me, it's really important that culture isn't a buzzword; it's an engine. Is the way that I like to think about it. And if we build it well, everything gets a little bit easier. So I like to start every single season thinking about what the last day is going to look like. And this is where we start with clarity. I like to communicate consistent expectations from the jump, clear protocols, roles, and responsibilities for not just staff, but also students and parents and prop builders and volunteers. I like to create some predictable plans, so that it really does reduce stress and build some trust in the staff when they know, oh, at 4 o'clock I know exactly what we're doing for my 5 o'clock rehearsal, and maybe it's 5 o'clock the day before, whatever it is, just make it consistent, is what I'd say. The next thing I'd say is model the habits you want. So staff and leaders set the tone for every single block. If the staff and student leadership are aligned, you're probably going to have a great rehearsal. But if there's some confusion, you're going to be button heads all those 3 hours of rehearsal. Behavior is mirrored. So attitude, work ethic, communication, they're watching the staff, and how the staff interacts with each other is how they're going to interact. So I really like to talk to my staff a lot about what's important today and what we need them to exhibit so that we can keep rehearsal going. And that goes into my last point of model with habits you want is reset fast and fix fast. It keeps everything kind of neutral and makes it so that it's, hey, we're focusing on fixing this. It's not personal. It's not anything. Put your arm up, your elbow goes here on 5. Da 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 da. And it makes it just a little bit easier. And then run back, reset. Don't give them time to think like, oh, did they call me out in front of the ensemble? That we're just moving on. We're moving fast. And it's a unified goal of we have a single mission, and that's just to get better today. Build one heartbeat. This is really important to me. With groups that have multiple facets all over, whether it be guard or percussion or winds, or maybe they've got a concert percussion group, what have you. It's important to make sure those are all in line. Like what's included in that I had on here is the prop builders, the parents, the staff. We're all part and focused on one connected mission. There's no silos. It's celebrate everyone's progress. When the winds do well, the guard's going to clap. When the percussion does well, the winds are there to help them push off the floor and give them high fives. Sharing wins builds program-wide pride. And it's really, really important when we talk about this winter stuff getting us into the fall. I like to talk about protecting the culture daily. It's you kind of have to stay vigilant, and it's really easy to get bogged down in February. It's like, well, we don't. Okay, maybe they don't have to stand at standby. Maybe they can talk while I'm talking. And once you start breaking those down, there's really no way to build back up. It's about consistency. When things get negative, not if, but when things get negative in rehearsal, I really try to address it as quick as we can and as neutral as we can. If it's something that we got to take a student out and talk or a staff member out and talk, it's going to happen, but it's going to happen quick, and it's not emotional. It's crucial. And so being very factual, this is where we're at. This is what we need you to do. This is what the staff is going to do to help with that. Really helps kind of tear those negativity down. And kind of with the build one heartbeat, try to prevent the us versus them mentality. Is it the seniors versus the freshmen, or is it the entire ensemble? Is it the wins versus the guard, or is it the entire program? Keeping that kind of mentality, us versus them, out of your culture helps us be a little bit more unified and helps everybody grow together. And then I like to talk about keeping expectations consistent to avoid confusion. We talked about it a little bit earlier. Finally, it's important to do all of this and include the team as well, whether it's the students, the staff, the parents, the drivers, whoever is part of your village owns a part of this culture. So you're going to want some input. Maybe they don't make decisions on how things are going to be laid out, but at least they understand. You've talked to them about the whys and the hows. And that kind of keeps everybody keeping involved. And so the last 2 points I've got is give people meaningful and defined responsibilities. So like my groups, there's a uniform crew, there's a sound crew, floor crew, horn cleaning crew, uniform crew. Like everybody has these jobs, and everybody has a job on rehearsal days and show days. So if I can give everybody these things that they're responsible for, it lets them feel like they have ownership, and ownership builds momentum. Momentum builds identity. And when it comes to culture, really what we're trying to build an identity is that of togetherness and teamwork. So if we can do all these things, it helps out. Going on to the next slide, I'm going to go through these really quick just so that we can stop listening to my voice. I don't like my voice. The first one is consistency beat. So these are 10 culture anchors. These are 10 phrases that I like to use pretty consistently and things that I try to hold myself accountable for. And that's why I like to say that these are 10 culture anchors that I continue to work on. The first one is consistency beats intensity. Small behaviors repeated daily shape the program more than big dramatic moments. Show up the same day after day when it's not glamorous. We know what February feels like. We know what March feels like. It's important to however you want that last day to look. It's that way from day one all the way through. The next one is everyone has ownership. Student leaders don't boss, they model. Staff models what they want mirrored. Students own their learning, not just their assignments. Number 3, positivity is a skill, not an accident. Celebrate small wins out loud. Call out effort, not just achievement, and redirect negativity before it marinates. Number 4, communication should be predictable. People thrive when they know a plan. Announce, repeated. I like to say announce, repeat, remind, and then remind again. Jeremy's really good at the remind again thing. I am terrible at it, and I'm continuing to work on it. No one should ever have to guess what's expected. Number 5, standards are the bare minimum, habits are the culture. The standard is the floor, not the ceiling. Habits determine energy, early setup, section pride, clean rehearsals, da 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 da. Number 6, safe space to fail fast. I like to talk about mistakes are speed bumps, not cliffs. So let's work on getting over this together rather than you feeling like you have to climb this mountain to get your feet in time or spins in time or what have you. Encourage risk taking as long as effort is high. Number 7, cross program respect. We've talked about this a couple times already. Whether you're in the wind, the guard, the percussion, it's not just y'all, it's the program. Celebrate each other's victories. One band, one show, one heartbeat. Number 8, leave it better than you found it. I think we've all heard of this, but I think this is so important to ingrain in your culture because it doesn't just help out with rehearsal, it helps out with everything, show days, where they go off in life. When we talk about this activity or this idiom being something where kids are learning important lessons, this is one of those ones. I like to say nobody is too important to move a prop or a water cooler or pick up some trash. Number 9, leaders serve, they don't hover. Leadership equals action, not authority. Top students hustle the most. And then number 10, finally, the program's culture should outlast you. I like to think of systems over personalities, traditions that empower, not restrict. And then just a quick reminder that you're building an ecosystem, not just a season. So we're not going to build this over one student, one senior member. We're going to build this for the freshmen, the sophomores, the juniors. If we can get them and keep them, imagine where they'll go in 4 years. Finally, culture isn't built by accident. It's built by repetition, clarity, and shared purpose. If you want excellence, make it easy for people to be excellent. If you want positivity, model it every day. And if you want ownership, give people meaningful roles. Strong culture turns a group of individuals into a program that feels unstoppable. That's how you build something worth showing up for. That's how you build something that lasts. That's how you build something that you can be proud of. Thank you for your time. I'm Joey. Appreciate you being here, and I hope your next rehearsal block feels a little lighter, brighter, and more intentional.
Thank you, Joey. That's fantastic.